In our own understanding, when we speak of due process, naghisgot ni nga si bisan kinsa nga tao or student for that matter nga giakusahan or gipasanginlan for whatever reason, before a punishment will be given or before any action that will be taken by the school against that particular student, there should first be an investigation that will be conducted wherein the student is given the chance and the privilege to defend himself. In the case that is decided by the Supreme Court on Diosdado de Guzman versus National University, this ruling provided us the procedural due process that should be observed whenever a school will conduct investigation against a student. So, number one, the students must be informed in writing of the nature and cause of any accusation against them. The students must be informed, meaning to say there should first be a notice that will be sent or given to the student about the complaint that is filed against him or her. So if in case the student is still minor, meaning he is still in the elementary school or high school, then it is necessary that the parents of that pupil or student must be furnished with a copy of that notice. Okay, so the parents must be informed about the case that is being filed against their children. But this is not the same case with a college student, because it is assumed that a college student is already matured and responsible of his action. Therefore, the notice may not be sent to his parents. It must be the student, or it will be the student who will receive the notice of the complaint that is filed against him or her. So the notice will contain the information about the case, so that the student who receives the notice will understand what is the nature of the complaint, what is the nature of the case that is being filed against him or her. Okay, so the notice may not really be specific or detailed, but at least it must contain the information, the basis or the grounds of the accusation, and what are the rules or regulations of the school that are being violated. Hence, there is this complaint against the student. So that is the first, no? That is the first. In writing, the student must be informed about the complaint or about the case that is filed against him or her. It must be written. Dili pwedeng isulti ra, dili pwedeng i-text ra, kundi it should be in a formal letter or formal notice that will be sent to the student if he is a college student. But if in case the accused is a high school or elementary, then the parents should also be sent with the notice of the accusation or of the case being filed against their children. The second requirement is that they shall have the right to answer the charges against them with the assistance of counsel if desired. Okay, so meaning to say, the student will have the right to respond to that accusation, to answer the charges, either to deny or to affirm the charges against them. No? Of course, with the aid of a counsel if desired. Meaning to say, even if the case is inside the school, the accused may hire the services of a lawyer to defend him, no, during the investigation. So after the student has received the notice about the case or about the complaint, then it is also the right of the student to answer. Dapat patubagon, dapat tagaan og katungod sa pagtubag ang estudyante mahitungod or in response to the accusation that is filed against him or against her. Tagaan siya og higadyon sa pagtubag sa mga akusasyon, o kung gustohon man niya nga mo hire siya sa serbisyo sa usa ka abogado, then that is also his or her right nga dili dapat pugngan sa eskwelahan, no? Dili pwede mo yung eskwelahan nga, hoy, dili ka pwede magdag abogado sa atong investigation. No, because that is the right of the accused student. Number 3 is they shall be informed of the evidence against them. Okay? So the accused will have the right to know what are the pieces of evidence that is provided by the complainant against the accused. No? Dapat muhatag og listahan or information ang eskwelahan sa akusado unsa man ang mga ebidensya nga gigamit sa nag-complain, no, sa complainant against that student. That is within the procedural due process that must be observed in an investigation to be conducted in the school. Number 4, they shall have the right to adduce evidence in their own behalf. Okay? But pasabot, kay doon na may ebidensya ang complainant against the accused, then the accused also will have the right to adduce, pagpangita, pagproduce og mga ebidensya nga modepensa niya. Okay? Nasabtan? So, but pasabot, dili lamang kay ang nag-akusar, dili lamang ang nagreklamo, mao ay makapresent og pieces of evidence, but also the accused student will also be given the right to produce pieces of evidence that will protect him. No? Inana kay specific ang due process nga dapat tagaan og katungod og higadyon ang akusado pagpangita o pagproduce og mga ebidensya nga pwede niyang gamiton pagprotect himself during the investigation. So, patas ang laban. Dili lamang kay ang nag-akusara ang makaproduce o makagamit og ebidensya, but also the person accused can also use and produce pieces of evidence. And number 5, the evidence must be considered by the investigating committee or official designated by the school authorities to hear and decide the case. Meaning to say, when the accused will produce the pieces of evidence, then the committee that is tasked to investigate will make use of these pieces of evidence. Dili pwede nga I am the accused and I am producing evidence to protect myself, then dili to gamiton, dili to i-consider sa committee na nag-investigate. These pieces of evidence must be carefully considered by the committee, the investigating committee, because this will also be the basis. They will use it as basis, or they will use this evidence as basis in the formulation of their decision. Meaning to say, ang ilang desisyon ibase sa unsa may mga ebidensya nga gipakita both the complainant and the accused. Dili pwede nga ang ilang desisyon gibase sa bisag unsa ra gibasihan, no? The concrete evidence that is presented by both parties must be the basis in the formulation of the decision of the investigating committee. So those are the procedural due process requirements that should be observed by the school whenever they conduct investigation of a case filed against a student. With that, it is assured that the student is given the right to exercise or to enjoy the right to due process. Always remember that due process is essential in all cases that will involve a student, especially those actions that are detrimental to him as a person, as a student. Always remember that due process is regarded by the state as important and sacred. Every student must not be denied of due process. And whenever there are actions taken by the school or by a teacher against a student without due process, then that action is illegal and unconstitutional. Therefore, a student who experienced or who suffered the violation of his due process, of his right to due process, will have also the right to file a complaint in the proper court. I hope that this afternoon you have learned again another important right of a student, because in the future, when you are already teachers, you also have to observe this. You also have to be aware and always remember that your pupils or your students do have the right to due process, so that whatever action that you will take against your student, always remember that they are given this right, this sacred right to due process. And no man, no, in our state, in our government, will have the right to deny due process to our students. Because remember, if we take action against any student minus or denying the due process, then your action is illegal. Your action is unconstitutional. Every individual, the students, you and me, we all have the right to enjoy due process. Okay, so I hope that you have learned something this afternoon, and I will be giving you assignments or learning tasks after this video. So again, good afternoon and be safe, everyone.